Paul Sanders, and Paul has created a show for the Gateway called 30 Songs Through 30 Years. And Paul, take us through. What is 30 Songs Through 30 Years?
I picked the 30 songs because of the length of each song and drawing on that, the length of the program. You don't want 50 songs over 50 years because it'll be 5 hours. So the 30 songs begin in 1950. Based on the audience that we had in the previous shows, we've learned that there aren't a lot of younger kids there, so you don't want too much of the new music. You want to direct it to the crowd that's attending. So we start off in 1950, and it'll be the #1 song for 1950, one of the #1 songs that was popular in 1950. The next song, #2 of the 30, will go 1951, one of the #1 songs in 51. That will run all the way through the 50s, 60s, and end up in 1979. So 1950 to 1979 will be 30 songs. Those 30 songs will play all the way through so that the audience can hear the songs. I'll give the artist or the singer of the song, and we'll ask the audience, what is the name of the song? At the end of this show, we'll have a break in the middle. At the end of the show, I'll have a blank sheet that each will fill out, and they'll fill in their guesses or the names of the song. At the end of the show, 30 would be absolutely 100% correct, and they'll win the grand prize, whoever wins the most. We'll have other prizes that evening. We'll have a double set of a box of wine to give away, and we'll have a double CD of the 30 songs for that evening to give away. And the reason we have a number of prizes is because in case there are ties, we don't want anybody to go away empty-handed if they've racked their brains and come up with the proper number. The other interesting thing for the evening is that many, probably 60% of them, will be the music video of the actual song. So they'll get a chance to see that old music video. And a lot of times that's entertainment and interesting. So it is a trivia question, but hopefully it will be entertaining for them also.
So you come at this with your own background. One, you bought your first 45 RPM at the age of 14 in 1956. And you've been a DJ for over 40 years. Yes. So your interest in records and in music, yes, long term for you.
Yes, it is. And that's been a growth. A lot of times, as we talked about prior, that when you go through high school and when you go through college, that is most of the time your music experience years. Yes, later on in life you will hopefully grow and broaden on your contemporary listening of music, as you mentioned with your wife and Frank Sinatra, which is an excellent example. As being a DJ, I would want to and need to go out and learn all of the latest top 10s. So it has been an extended experience for me and very broadening, because I'm not focused just on rock and roll. You really can't focus just on rock and roll if you're giving a broad show like this. It has to be for entertaining for the audience to be able to get a broader perspective of some of the music. They might not want to listen to rock and roll all night. They do want to hear Frank Sinatra, or they do want to hear a different view of some of the songs. So part of the reason for the show is experience and broadening the diversity of music that's out there. It's amazing, the diversity that's out there.
Yeah, just in your show here, 1950 through 1979, I'm thinking that 1950 presages the rock and roll era.
It does.
And so you're talking some big band music, some classic, the tunes, the idols of those days.
Yes.
And then through the 60s and 70s, I'm sure through a typical show, 30 songs through 30 years, your listeners are going to be exposed to several styles of music.
Yes, and that's the objective, because not everybody there is going to be listening to 1950 to 1955. They may be more of a, I'll say, hippie. That's turned into a derogatory term, but I'd love to be a hippie nowadays, from the middle to late 60s. So those songs are going to bring back floods of memories for in a Chevy van, let's say, down by the river, or and the early 70s when soul started to come in, mid 70s when it was more contemporary, or should I say late 70s for the disco. Many people do not like disco, but it's those songs that bring back that memory that the show and we, the Gateway, are attempting to do.
What's interesting for me is when you mention these different styles of music, I was born in '72. Some of my first memories are of long trips with my family, listening to 8-track tapes, so not records, but 8-track tapes of, among other things, Creedence Clearwater Revival, maybe some Leonard Skinner, but then also some of that disco seeped its way into 8-track tapes.
Yes.
And as soon as you hear a song, and I'm sure this is what this does as well, it's a trivia contest, we're all having fun, but also we're tapping into our nostalgia. Those memories pop up when you hear that song.
And that's another level of bringing entertainment to the audience. That's why part of the reason that we devised this platform to be able to show it. Yes, it's trivia. Yes, we're asking them questions. And yes, they have to write it down. And yes, they're going for prizes. If all you did, Chris, if all you did was come to the show and simply watch the videos and listen to the music, I think you'd be entertained.
Talking with Paul Sanders, and Paul's a native of Waynesboro. And we talked about this before we got on the air here. You're a native of Waynesboro and you're a DuPonter, but you left before DuPont took you away. You left as a child, right?
Yes, I did. We moved away. My mom and my dad moved up to Wilmington because that was the DuPont major business area. And then I started working for DuPont. My whole family had, certainly when they were down here and certainly when they were up there. My wife worked for DuPont. My kids, 2 of my kids worked for DuPont. It's really interesting. So, and I went back to college, got a computer degree, and then went back and worked for DuPont in the computer area. So it was an evolution. And when I retired, my roots are here. Born in Waynesboro, right up on Pine Avenue, and I thought, I've got to come back to the Valley. This is where I want to spend my, how should I say, golden years.
And so, talk about your involvement with the Gateway, how you got involved, and then how the show evolved.
Got involved with the Gateway late last year. The Gateway has been opened August. Has been 1 year this August. We're planning a show to have that 1 year come up. Got involved with volunteering with them late in December, and that has expanded. Probably once or twice a week I'll go down and work on concessions or tickets and help them out in any way, planning for the next show, seating, do some sound work. And really got involved, and in the back of a music person's mind, gee, what a wonderful arena this would be for some type of musical show. Well, thinking my music background, I could do a DJ show perhaps, but let's expand it a bit and get the audience involved. And Claire and I talked about it. Some other people were helpful in suggesting some things, and I kind of devised the show, previewed it, and Claire and the staff thought, this would be pretty interesting. Let's try one. The first one was March 15th, Thursday night of March 15th, well attended and well accepted, and accepted by the staff. So we thought, let's do another one.
So for those watching this video, as we put this up in early April of 2012, because this will have life on the internet for a while afterwards, when's the next show coming up?
The next show is May 17th, Thursday evening, 7:30.
Okay.
Please do come. I think you'll enjoy it.
More information on the Gateway website and the Wayne Theater website. We'll have that information for you on a crawl here beneath the video here. But, well, Paul, I have to ask one more question before we let you go. We talked off the air about your first record. You mentioned here in the piece of paper you handed me, you bought your first 45 in 1956, and that record was?
That record was Heartbreak Hotel by Elvis Presley, and it was one of the #1 songs in 1950, and many will say the entrance of rock and roll. There are a number of rock and roll songs prior to that, but I think that was the one that woke up the mothers and fathers of the world as to what in the heck are these kids listening to nowadays. we felt it was our music at that time. And this was a way to break away from our parents and all of those big band sounds. Now I've done full circle and I'm listening to big band now. So, but it was Elvis's Heartbreak Hotel. I still have the record.
Well, Paul, thanks for joining us, and we'll enjoy your show in May.
Thank you, Chris. It was an honor to be here.